Imagine this. It's Friday at around 5 p.m. You are about to log off and your boss sends a message. He says, "Hey, can you just quickly handle this report for me? I need this by morning." Your stomach drops. You're already drowning in work. You want to scream, "No!" But what do you do instead? What do you type instead? You say, "Sure, happy to help." Congratulations, you just fell into the reliability trap. I spoke about that in the last video. You think saying yes proves you are a dedicated employee, but I'm here to tell you the truth. To a senior leader, saying yes to everything doesn't look like dedication. Initially, yes, but after a point, it looks like a lack of strategy. If you want to get promoted, you have to stop being an order taker and start being a portfolio manager. Today, I'm going to give you three exact scripts to say no to your boss, protect your time, and actually look more like a leader and winning while doing it. Hi, I'm Rakesh Ravindran. I'm a leadership coach for high performing mid level managers like you. I help people move from being overlooked to being promoted by building visibility and influence using emotional intelligence. I'm going to share three specific scripts you can use right away to say no and actually look more like a leader. I'll be talking about three things. First one is strategic pause. How to stop the reflex yes. The yes that you say out of obligation or you feel like there is really no other choice. I'll talk about that. And the second one I'll talk about is the yes if technique. How to negotiate trade offs the right way. And then the third one is delegation pivot, turning refusal into a mentorship opportunity and how to do that, right? And if you're tired of doing the work while others get the credit, subscribe to the channel. I drop a new strategy every week. Hit that bell icon so you are notified every time I drop a new video. So here is the math. Junior employees are paid for execution. Their output is the tasks completed. On the other hand, executives are paid for decision. Their output is resource allocation, being smart about it and managing priorities. When you say yes to a low value task, like, say, formatting a slide deck or fixing a spreadsheet, you're spending your limited decision capital on execution labor. You're telling your boss, "I'm still a junior employee, treat me like one." So, how do we flip the script? How do we refuse work without looking lazy or that, without seeming like you're being difficult? Let's get into the strategies. Now, we'll start with the first one. The first strategy, I call it the pause strategy. The biggest mistake you make is answering too fast because you're not comfortable with the silence. It makes you anxious. So you fill that in with a yes. So here's what you do from now on. When a request comes in, buy yourself some time. And here's the script, right? Say something like, "I've got a few critical priorities in flight right now. Let me review my capacity and get back to you in an hour with a realistic timeline by when I can finish it." Right? And why does this work? Because executives just don't do things. They assess the impact first by pausing. And when you do that, you signal that your time is valuable. Moving on to strategy number two. Sometimes, well, actually, most times, you cannot say a hard no because, say, it's a very senior leader. What if it is the CEO asking for something? Maybe it's a crisis. So instead of saying no, you use the yes if technique. Most people say something like, "Oh, I can't because I'm busy," right? The way you say that, it sounds like an excuse or you're trying to get away from getting the job done. Instead, the good leaders, the way they manage that is by saying something like, "I can if we trade off X or Y," right? Whatever that might be. And here is the script that you can use and it'll be effective, right? You may go about it in saying that, "I can certainly take that on. However, to hit that deadline, I need to pause the project X until Wednesday. Are you comfortable with that trade off? You see that? Now, that is powerful. You aren't refusing work, you are forcing your boss to do their job, which is prioritizing resources. You're shifting the burden of the decision back to them, right? Now, we'll move on to strategy number 3. If you are a senior manager and if you're still scheduling meetings and formatting data, you're hurting your team. These are the kind of work you have outgrown. You shouldn't be sitting and doing that. And if you don't have someone to do this within your team, somebody junior, you are hoarding experience. You are not letting them, the new folks who can fill in your shoes, to experience this. So, what do you say? Here is a script you may use. Say something like, this looks important, but I think this is a great development opportunity for a junior person. I can oversee them doing it so they learn the process. Does that work for you? You see what I did there? You just turned a no into a mentorship moment. You aren't lazy. You are a coach. You're a mentor. You're going to help build the next level of leadership. That is a director level behavior. That is the right way to go about it. In fact, I had a client, Arjun, a manager in an FMCG company with over 12 years of experience. He was terrified to use these scripts when I worked with him first, right? He thought, if I say no, they'll fire me, or what if I am rated poorly in my performance review? But one day he gathered his courage and he tried the strategy number 2, which is the trade off strategy, right? On a major project that he was being asked to lead. His boss didn't fire him, or his boss didn't look disappointed when he said, use that, right? His boss actually was reminded of those other priorities and he said, oh, good call, Arjun. Let's push the other project for next week. I'll manage the expectations with the stakeholders. You know what happened? Arjun got 10 hours of his week back, which is great. And now, here comes the important part, right? And this is the most important part. What do you do with those 10 hours? If you use that time to simply scroll through Instagram or just wasting time, you that's the worst part of it, right? You need to reinvest the time into visibility, building influence, networking, learning new skills, all of that, which is going to help you in your leadership journey. That will help you grow into your next level. And you know what? If you want to know exactly how to use that free time to build personal brand that gets you promoted, I have a 60-day leadership growth challenge. It's the exact system I use to turn worker bees into C-suite leaders. These are systems that I have learned the hard way. It took me years to get it done. I have converted all of what I've learned into a very systematic learning path that has helped many leaders that I've coached and mentored to meet their aspirations of being senior leaders. The link is in the description below. And hey, now that you have freed up your schedule, you need to make sure people know the value of the work you're doing. Click this video right here where I think it's on here, where I speak about the traps leaders usually fall in and how to avoid them. This was the last video that I posted. So go check it out. And if you want to assess how promotion ready you are, I've created an amazing assessment tool. I've it's free and you can actually get into that right away. Follow the link in the description for that as well and go through that assessment. See what are the areas that you need to improve, what are the areas that you probably are really doing well already, and you'll get an amazing spider graph along with a very descriptive assessment of where you are and what you need to do. So next week, I'll be talking about how to brag about your work, how to market yourself without sounding like a jerk or without sounding like you're hooting your own horns. Also, I'll be coming live on Saturday at around 11 p.m. IST Indian Standard Time, and I'll be running a masterclass on how to be C-suite ready and how you can use AI to build your influence and visibility. It's about how new age augmented leadership looks like. I'm going to give you a glimpse of it. So stay tuned. Until then, lead confidently. I'll see you in the next one.